Hi, Ken and Vincent. So before I begin, just a short little disclaimer. I have a cold, and that's why I sound so beautiful. And so don't mind me if I cough or anything like that. So yeah, let's just begin. So the Qipu, as a whole, represents how our brain has not changed since the time that we were hunters and gatherers. This pink bead is representative of the cortex, and the cortex is the largest part of the brain. It is where our knowledge is stored. It is on the outside of our brain. It's the part that you see, like the squigglies. This red bead is representative of the limbic system. Motion is created, and if there's emotion behind thoughts or memories, there's significance, and you're more likely to recall it later. This gold bead is representative of novelty and attention and shows us how the brain searches for novelty novelty and attention to help remember things. This next bead here is the five senses, which is touch, taste, feel, smell, and hear. If any piece of information is received through any of those five things, then it goes right to the immediate memory. In the immediate memory, you can't recall things there for a while. It's more just a place where you remember it. Like, that's where it goes, and then if you were to forget a piece of information 10 seconds later, it wasn't able to be stored because it didn't go to the working memory. And the working memory is where it's made sense of, if it's important enough to be remembered, and then if it is, it goes to the long-term storage, which is this brown bead. And the long-term storage is where our thoughts and our memories are stored for a long time, and that's where you're able to recall them if you need to take a piece of information out at a later date. This P and C beads are representative of how our brain goes through physical and chemical changes every single time that it learns. This next bead is an orange bead and represents chunking, and chunking is piecing together similar bits of information or knowledge that you learn. So say with a math equation, you put together all the addition facts. Since they're associated with each other, you're able to chunk them together, and therefore you'll probably be able to remember them better. This pink bead here, near the flower, it's missing a little petal, is representative of how the brain makes up for things that are missing. So, for example, if you were to be in a forest, and you saw a stump, your brain would make up and assume that there was once a tree there. But say it were to be a negative thing, and you were in history class and you just assumed that because of the way history worked, you just assumed something was true, when in fact it was not. These next three beads, T, O, and W, are transfer of and transfer while learning. I know it's transfer during learning, but there were no D beads that day. And this transfer happens, transfer of learning is when the knowledge comes in, and transfer while learning is while you're learning something that's coming. These two beads, these red and blue beads, are negative and positive transfer. Positive transfer, which is this blue bead, your past experience help you to learn this piece of new information. But negative transfer is when previous experiences while learning deter you from new learning. This next bead here, it's the double-sided, is store by similarity and retrieve by difference. My apologies. And so what that means, it's this whole little chart thing, and all in the center is the long-term storage. So say it comes from store by similarity, it starts at working memory, and then it goes to storing by similarity, and then it goes into long-term storage. But if you were to retrieve by difference, it would start at working memory, it would go to retrieve by difference, and then it would go to long-term storage. This next bead here is critical attributes. And it goes along with the transfer topics that we were just talking about with these last beads here. And so transfer is generated by this property, I guess. And the characteristics that make the idea unique, the characteristics that make the idea unique can help store it better. So again, going back to significance. These next beads here, these black and white beads, they're logical, so they represent the left brain. Black and white go with anything. This middle tube bead here is the corpus callosum, which connects the left and right brain. And then these colorful beads here, more creative, is the right side brain. These three beads, D, M, and V, are representative of dance, visual, and music, and those are three different types of arts. This multi-sided bead here is representative of the benefits of integrated arts, and some of those benefits are the child is more emotionally invested in their work, they're more diligent with their work, they're more cooperative. If parents see that their children are enjoying what they're doing, they're more likely to be invested themselves. So there's just lots of benefits to integrating arts. And so this red bead is a big thing, big red no. Music and musical and artistic ability is not genetically transferred, which is a common misconception. Then lastly, this red, green, and blue beads. The green bead is representative of practice or modeling. It is important before you move a level up in Bloom's taxonomy. The red bead is students can do higher order thinking without having the basic knowledge or skills. They can't do that because, they can't do that because it's just hard, because they need to have the basis, they need to have the strong foundation. And then lastly, this blue bead is representative of complexity, and you can't have too much complexity in a working memory or else you won't be able to store as much. And yeah, so that's my Kipu. Happy holidays, and I really enjoyed your class. So yeah, thank you.